My name is Daniel. Most people know me as Danster. I'm a DJ, event planner, archivist, curator, and probably some other things that I'm forgetting. Frooty was started in the fall of 2023 by Nikai, Brenda, and myself. For me, Frooty is sort of this idea that we can imagine, despite being queer of color folks on a predominantly white and affluent college campus, can carve out spaces for ourselves, spaces where we can be free, spaces where we can play things that aren't accepted in a broader college soundscape. Like, we represent underground artists in the music that we play, and everything we do is for free. This isn't a project where we make money. Throwing parties is a project where we put in a lot of time and labor. For us, it's like a labor of love. Our attempt to do what queer of color people have been doing for the better part of 50 years now, which is using electronic dance music to create spaces where people can, even if for a brief moment, dance and be free. And even if that moment is just a small, tiny sliver of what their day-to-day is, I think it's worth it. For us, that's not something we get often, so we make it our mission to carve that space out for other queer of color folks. Traditional party procedure and party culture is completely separate of Frooty at the 5Cs, meaning that we do not necessarily reserve spaces, we don't reserve equipment, we don't have staff who set up our events for us, we don't have people who are funding the event, and so for us that means that we have to tap into the community to get sound equipment, to find lounges, basements to throw parties in. I mean, it's because these kinds of parties only can happen in these places which are underground, both in the figurative sense, but also in a literal sense, because most of the time these parties happen below ground level. And yeah, I think with the way that campus climate and culture has made those spaces that we've previously used visible, but also because of the fact that administration has made those spaces less accessible for students in general. Frooty has had a difficult time re-engaging with those same places, physical places that is, that at one point in time felt very socially safe for us. The way that Frooty was thrown oftentimes was not making the most ideal use of sonic space. Our equipment was always borrowed, was oftentimes not functioning at 100%. Our speaker was I believe it was a QSC K157, which is a monster of a speaker, but also has limiters because we would push one speaker, one K157, beyond what it should have been taking. And it was in a lounge, so this place was not made to handle that. So, I mean, we've gotten campus security calling us multiple times. I mean, we're partying underneath dorms. Like, these people are trying to sleep and it's like 2:30 in the morning and the floor is shaking. And yeah, I mean, it honestly, for all intents and purposes, like acoustically, sonically, spatially, was so funny because it like made no logical sense, and yet in the moment it was like each Frooty party felt as though it was so amazing just to like turn on the speaker at the beginning of the night when the room is empty and hear music in a way that's not just sonic but is also like a feeling. Oh, that's a great question. Reestablishing Frooty after a break would be nice. Personally, as a DJ, I've changed a lot. In returning, I mean, being able to share new music is always top of my list, to share whatever it is going on here. We do it because we love seeing people who are like us be able to experience joy and be able to walk down a weird stairwell with some graffiti in it, past a bunch of people smoking cigarettes and blunts and joints, and make their way to a door that looks kind of scary, but clearly is like getting some serious vibrations and having a pound on the door, and like watch as like suddenly new people walk in for the first time and they're like, oh my gosh, what is this? What is going on right now? And they just see a bunch of sweaty queer of color folks like just having a good time. To give that feeling to other people is like, that is all that I want out of it. That's like, that brings me so much joy as someone who, you know, puts a lot of time and effort with the other people who make Frooty what it is, to put on these events and to make that space in a place where we oftentimes are rendered invisible.